George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
All right, well, welcome back to Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, meaning the due on sale clause. This is part 2 of a video that I did that it gives a little bit simpler explanation on one principle. We're going to go into a little bit longer definition on the second part of this concept for the mortgage business. So welcome to thecreditjungle.com. This is George Anderson. And I'm going to take a little bit extra time explaining this, but I think I can illustrate this and help everybody understand this. But when a mortgage loan is closed, there are actually two different assets that are created. One of them is the note or the bond itself, and if it's a $500,000 mortgage loan at 5%, 6% or whatever, okay, that is going to be bundled with similar type mortgages based on the type of loan, the credit score, just going to be some other stuff. And we hear this word about a tranche and stuff like that, but these are put into what are called collateralized mortgage obligations. So on one side you have the asset here that is a CMO. That's somebody who looks at investing in mortgages, and this could be your own 401k, a pension fund, foreign investors, whatever, and they're saying, hey, I might be okay buying a bond that pays a 5% rate of interest, okay? And that's what you have. Now, that value of that is going to increase or decrease inversely with the movement of interest rates, which is why we saw SVB Bank back in March of 2023, why they collapsed, because they were doing, their accounting method was called an HTM or hold to maturity valuation on mortgage-backed securities and treasury securities, which frankly is just stupid and it's not real world, which everybody found out because when people wanted to pull out their money, those bonds were not worth what it said on the books that they were worth face value. They had actually been cut in half or even worse. And so anyway, let's not get into that. But these 5% bonds, if you will, mortgage-backed security or CMO, collateralized mortgage obligation, okay, these are just a note like anything else, a CD, a bond, an annuity, or something that just pays an interest rate, okay? So that is one asset. The other asset that's created on the other side of this, nobody makes their mortgage payments directly to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or Ginnie Mae. They don't. They make it to a mortgage servicer, and a lot of times there is what's called a sub-servicing agreement, and this person has the mortgage servicing rights to that loan, which means that in a separate transaction, okay, not buying the $500,000, they say, well, we don't want to buy the investment itself. We want to pay to be able to buy the right to service that loan. So on a $500,000 loan, a typical servicing fee would be about 25 basis points annually. So what's that? $1,250, roughly $100 a month is what they're doing they're paying up front, maybe $1,200 to buy the rights to service that loan over a period of time. Now, if that loan were to get paid off within 6 months after they bought it, the mortgage servicer, okay, who could be like, Wells Fargo, Mr. Cooper, fill in the blank for these mortgage companies who collect mortgage payments. They are making money for collecting the mortgage payment and nothing else. They do the accounting, they'll figure out the principal and interest portion on it. They make some additional money off of check by phone, bounce checks and stuff like that. But their servicing income is they're paying up front for the right to service that loan. So a lower interest rate loan is more likely to stay on the books longer. So a mortgage company buying servicing rights might be paying even more than that 1% if they're servicing a bunch of loans that are at 3%, because they're less likely to get paid off, because interest rates would have to come down a lot for somebody to refinance. Is everybody following me on this so far? I'm going to try to put some illustrations up here to help with this a little bit. But the point I'm making is that somebody who has paid in advance for the right to service that loan, as long as those payments are coming in, they're good, okay? Now, if the property was sold on a contract for deed, the title is still in the seller's name, so it's never going to trigger. But even if it was sold on an all-inclusive trust deed, where the title transfers from the buyer to the seller, again, the servicer here has no financial incentive to lose money and to call that loan due, because they're not making money off of the interest rate on the mortgage over here. That's the CMO. They are making money taking a scrape every month off the payment that the buyer makes. And as long as somebody's making that mortgage payment and the check's clearing, they're making money and they're happy. So we've got, again, over here, this mortgage, when we close the loan, we've got the note, which goes into a CMO, or a bundle of bonds over here that investors just want that rate of return on it. And we have the servicing, the MSR, mortgage servicing right, that is transferred separately as a separate asset over here in a low interest rate servicing portfolio. If a servicer's got a bunch of loans that are all below 3.5% right now, that has an intrinsic value on it that makes it pretty valuable when the interest rates go up, okay? Because these loans are not likely to get paid off. Whereas on this side of the equation, as the interest rates go up over here, the value of that bond, if it's a low interest rate, goes down. And that's where SVB Bank, got into trouble, because they had treasury securities and mortgage-backed securities that under Dodd-Frank they could do what's called a hold to maturity accounting, which is absolutely stupid, because it says that if you held this for the life of the loan for 30 years, then yeah, you'd get your 2% or 3%, okay? That didn't happen. When the value of when the interest rates doubled, the price of those bonds got cut in half. And all of a sudden, the bank's getting a run on deposits, and they want to go and sell some of their treasury securities, and their mortgage bonds are like, oh, we've got 10 billion. Oh, sorry, oops, we've only got $5 billion here. This is a simplified explanation of what happened on it, but it's important to know that in a seller finance environment, with the type of transactions you do, and even if you're doing an all-inclusive trust deed transaction, the due on sale clause is not likely to be triggered, which is why the state of Utah has a seller financing addendum that discloses in section 6, I believe it is, that it's the buyer's responsibility to cure a default that occurs on there. Make your payments on time, you're not likely to ever have a problem. So thanks for coming into thecreditjungle.com. Remember, you can push button, get mortgage professional, and I would love to help you navigate through the credit jungle to get the best financing terms available. Have a great day.